In this video, we're going to solve these equations. One thing, just as a reminder, is take the time to pause the video to give yourself time to think and to try the problems we're going to solve, or even rewind, go back and rewatch some of the problems we solved. We'll try to go through these quickly, just so if you have a understanding of the problem, it's not dragging on for you, but we'll also try to explain thoroughly so you can understand what's going on here. Okay, so when we solve an equation, remember your goal is to get the variable by itself. So we want to get all the variables on one side and everything else on the other side. If it helps, you can draw this line through the equal sign to split up the sides. But here I have 6r over here and 7r here. So I'm going to move everything to the right just because I can avoid negative signs. But you don't have to. You can do the other way. But so if we subtract 6r from both sides, and by subtracting 6r, what happens over here is you get 0. And then over here, you get just r. And the 7 comes down and the 13 comes down. And then you want to get r by itself. So subtract 13 from both sides. And remember, if you do something to one side, you have to do it to the other side. And then that gives you -6 is equal to r. To check your answer, you could take -6 and plug it in here and make sure the left side is equal to the right side. Number 2, we want to get the x's by itself. Well, I notice on the left side, and if we look at the equal sign kind of as a fence, with the left and right side, it partitions our, or it divides our equation into two parts. Then I can see on the left I have -7x and -3x, so I can combine those to get -10x. -7 minus 3 is -10. And then I have my +2. Then we're not going to do anything else on this step. We'll take it one step at a time. And then I want to get my x's on one side. So I can either add 10x, and that would get 2, or I can add 8, excuse me, and get -2. Negative signs make more mistakes or cause more mistakes, so I'm going to add 10x to both sides. And so here these add to 0, so those are gone. And then you get 2 on the left, and then 2x minus 8 on the right. Then I want to get x by itself, remember, so I want to get rid of the 8. I have to get rid of the addition and subtraction first. So I add 8. And that gives me 10 is equal to 2x. I'm kind of running out of room here, but to get x by itself, I divide by 2. And x is equal to 5. Notice how it's like, well, x, how did x get on the left side? Well, you can just flip the equation how you write it. So 5 is equal to x is the same thing as x is equal to 5. And typically, like you're used to seeing, or we get used to seeing the variable on the left. So if you have 5 is equal to x, you probably write it as x is equal to 5. Okay, on the next one, look through on the left side. We have some b's we can gather and some numbers. So let's do both. So -14 plus 7 is -7. And 6b minus 2b is plus 4b. So note that we're just combining like terms. We're not looking like to do the opposite or the inverse function. We're just combining like terms because it's on the same side of the function. And on the right side, we have 1 plus 5b. And then we can decide where to go. I'm going to move the 4b over and the 1 over. Let's try to do this in one step, although you can do it in 2. But as you get better at this, it's good to practice doing more than one step in a function, in solving an equation. So push yourselves to kind of work quicker through these. And so notice I subtracted 1 from both sides and subtracted 4b from both sides. So this gives me -8, and then those go to 0. These go to 0, and when I combine these, I get b. And so b is equal to -8, or -8 is equal to b. Okay, here, be careful that you're looking at the left and right side. On the left, these are on the same side, so we can just combine these. But always make note of where your equal sign is. So this is -2n. And then let's not do anything here yet. And then we want to get rid of, sorry, not get rid of, but move the n's to the same side. So let's add 4n, because that'll get my number positive. I forgot to switch my pen there. And so when I add these, I get 2n is equal to 14. And then I can divide by 2 to get n by itself. So if you're multiplying, divide by 2, and n is equal to 7. Okay, let's slide this up a little bit. Look at the next couple. Okay, this one's kind of interesting. When we combine, you can see right away when I move the x's to one side, that's just going to go away. So -2x is equal to subtract 2x from both sides. And so you get 5 is equal to 6. So there are no variables. And so you just have to decide, is this true or not? Is 5 equal to 6? No, that's not true. You can stop there. This is no solution. The symbol for that is a circle with a line through it. That means the empty set. Either one of these is fine, but 5 is not equal to 6, so it's just not true. The other thing some people will do is they continue to work. So you could subtract 5 from both sides if you want to, and get 0 is equal to 1. So if you get 0 is equal to a number, that's not true, or 0 is not equal to 1, so it's false. It's no solution. Okay, here, anytime you see parentheses, it's not required that you distribute, but it's usually a pretty good idea. That's usually a pretty good strategy. Here, it works out nicely if you distribute first. So -8n plus 4 plus 20n, and then we'll just leave everything. So notice that we're not doing things to both sides of the equation yet. We're just distributing. We're just multiplying on that one side. And now we can combine like terms. And so once again, we're not doing anything to both sides of the equation. So -8n plus 20n is 12n. So just combine those. And then let's do these 2 steps in 1 step. Let's try that again. So here we're going to add 6n. And then we're also going to subtract 4. And you can stretch that out to 2 steps if you want. It's not a big deal. 12 plus 6n is 18n. These go to 0. These go to 0. And then -14 minus 4, be careful, it's -18. So be careful with your subtraction. And then to get n by itself, it's multiplied by 18. We have to divide both sides by 18. And we'll put it over here. N is equal to -1 when you divide. Killing 7. So you have options here. You could divide both sides by 7 to get rid of that because it's multiplication. But then we have some funky fractions over here. So instead, let's distribute. Like I said, usually the best option is to distribute. Here here, that leaves us with 4n minus 40. And then on the right side, negative 14n plus 14. And so let's go ahead and move the n's over. So if I do plus 14n plus 14n, remember there is a left and right side. Keep that in mind each time. And then we'll go ahead and add those and then do the next step. So that's 18n minus 40 is equal to, and those are gone, is equal to 14. And then when you add 40, I forgot to show that step. Let's go ahead and write that in. So if I add 40, I get 18n is equal to 54. And then dividing by 18, if you need a calculator, that's okay. If you divide by 18, you get n is equal to 3. And once again, you can check your work. If you go back to the beginning, plug in n here, or 3 here, you get 12 minus 40. Plug in 3 here, you get negative 6 plus 2, and then times 7, and they are equal to each other. If they're not equal to each other, then you did something wrong. Okay, here, go ahead and distribute. Watch this negative. You are distributing the negative 5. We're going to do nothing on the left side. A lot of 5s, which just kind of leads to errors sometimes, so be careful. And then we can combine like terms. These numbers are on the same side, so we're just putting them together. So negative 5 and negative 5 make negative 10. So let's do nothing on the left still. Equals negative 10 minus 25x. Okay, and then you can decide which side to move things on. I'm going to move the 25 over to make the number in front of x positive. And let's do this in one step. I'm also going to move the 31 to the left. So minus 31, excuse me. Okay, and you don't have to do this in one step, but I would try to push yourself a little bit, just because the quicker you can get at solving these equations, the easier your life is in algebra. So I know it's new to you, and it's going to take some time, and you're going to do a lot of these. So that, it's okay. It's going to take some time, but try to push yourself to kind of make shortcuts, or shorten your work when possible. So let's see, we got negative 10. Let's see, I missed a negative sign somewhere. That's supposed to be negative, so we're going to add 31 and make that positive 21. Let's see, now it looks like my signs are right. And then x is equal to 1 after we divide by 21 on both sides. So let's take a look at that mistake again, because mistakes are important to catch. If you make a mistake, take some time to look at it, figure out why. And so my mistake was I had negative 31 here, but then it actually wasn't a math error at all. I was just writing my next line, and I just forgot to write the negative. This negative was missing, and you can go back and rewatch that if you want. And so that led me to want to subtract this instead of add it. And so if you look at how many things I'm writing down in each problem, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on one step alone. And then if we were to count up all the operations we do, we multiply, we add here, we add 4 things here, and then we divide. So there's a lot of operations. There's a lot of chances for errors. So just work carefully. If you're missing questions, it might be that you don't understand solving equations, right? And that's fine. We can help you with that and get more questions there. If you are, the other reason you could be missing questions is because you just are making simple mistakes. And so work carefully, watch your signs, write things down carefully. Also, use a calculator if you need it. I would encourage you to do everything in your head with the math, but then check it in your calculator. But You don't want to be making a bunch of errors with like adding and subtracting, because it can be really frustrating as you're trying to learn how to solve equations. Okay, let's do the last two. We'll go through these kind of quickly. Distribute first, and we're going to go ahead and distribute on both sides. This is one where if you want to divide everything by 4, you could. So you divide this by 4, this by 4, this whole thing by 4, and this whole thing by 4. And that would probably shorten the question, but it's a little more of a advanced strategy. So we're going to do kind of the tried and true way of just distributing and working it out from there. So we'll distribute. And be careful only to distribute in the parentheses, and then combine like terms. So you get 24x minus 12, and then 24x plus 12. And so we get to this point where 24x and 24x are the same. And if you don't see that, then you think, well, I'm just going to subtract 24x to both sides, and that's going to go to 0. And so I get negative 12 is equal to 12. And so you're asking yourself, is this true or false? Is negative 12 equal to 12? This is false. It's never going to be the same. And so this is no solution. Or if you want to use that symbol for the empty set, which also means no solution. And then the last one, distribute first. So it becomes negative 32x plus 20 is equal to negative 32x minus 26. And so once again, like if you notice this on the same side, so negative 32x and negative 32x, the x's, they're all together and now it's the same. You could say no solution right here. You could look at it and say, well, those are going to be gone. And so 20 and is not equal to negative 26. That's no solution. Be done. So look for that, right? Practice that. However, it's kind of hard to see early. So let's just keep solving and say, well, I want to move my x's to one side. And you go, oh, looky there. My x's, let's go ahead and put our bar there, are gone. That's 0. That's 0. So now I have 20 is equal to negative 26, which is not true. 20 is not the same as negative 26. It is not equal. And so we can say with confidence that there is no solution here. And that's I missed my circle a little bit, but that's my circle with a line through it for the empty set. Okay, as always, reach out if you have questions, and hopefully you're getting better at solving equations and feeling more confident.